Morning, family, friends, students, followers. Dr. Jimmy Henderson again, cognitive scientist. Today I'm going to continue my talks on the different emotions and how to deal with them. And today I've chosen fear because in the world today, it's such a strong emotion, it's so prevalent, and that maybe I can give you little tips on how to cope. And I'm not going to be using theoretical models and stuff. I'm going to be using my own experiences over the many years and showing you how it forms and then how to deal with it. The first thing is fear is usually related to uncertainty. The emotion of fear comes in when we feel out of control, when we feel we can't cope, we perceive something as a threat, possibly dangerous, a dangerous threat, and we then feel this emotion of fear. And it's actually not a bad thing. I mean, it goes back to ancient times, primitive times, when that fear was necessary as a precaution to prevent early man from entering into dangerous situations. It's like a natural warning. Listen, be careful. You are now approaching a dangerous situation. So in that way, it kept them alert and cautious. So it was a good thing. And unfortunately, we still have that same need today, drive, fear of the emotion within our DNA. And the problem is the crippling fear. In other words, fear in a dangerous situation is natural, but what what is the actual problem is the crippling fear that comes from psychological issues and emotional issues. And that affects your whole life. It stops you from doing what you want to do or you need to do. And it also can cause chronic anxiety and even mental illness. So knowing how to deal with fear should help you build your self-esteem and self-confidence. And to link up with that, I want to then point out one of my latest books, The Power of Authenticity. In other words, getting real with yourself and then being able to face things, knowing your strengths, knowing your weaknesses, and knowing what to do. Right, so how do we deal with fear? As I say, I'm going to be using a lot of personal experiences because the theory it's okay, but I've experienced this stuff in my life. As I said, it is natural, and the first way of coping with fear is understanding the situation that you are in. In other words, taking the necessary precautions, seeing that it can be a dangerous situation, assessing the situation, seeing this as dangerous, like walking through a big five nature reserve. You don't do that, and because you know that these animals are dangerous and that they will attack you. So therefore, it's knowledge and understanding is the first way to combat fear. If you know that and you know what is the danger and what are the risks, then you can take appropriate steps to deal with it. In that way, you stay within your vehicle, you have some sort of coping mechanism, and you don't then subject yourself to this dangerous situation or threatening situation by understanding exactly what is happening. The second way of dealing with fear is getting help. We are social beings. We don't have to do everything ourselves. We can ask for help and even pay for help sometimes. I mean, if you are somebody who is involved in a court case, you're going to have a lot of fear, especially fear of the unknown, fear of being in the court, fear of the system. And you get yourself a lawyer, somebody that takes the load for you, and you will feel more confident and more satisfied with the situation, knowing that you have somebody on your side who can deal with it. So there's no shame in asking for help from family and friends whenever you're in a fearful situation, possibly related to to normal day-to-day issues. Yeah, get help. And finally, this is probably the most important one of all. For those of us that are veterans and have been deployed in conflict areas, we know how to deal with fear. We have experienced it, we've been there. The possibility of being attacked and being shot has always been as there, and you have to face it. And the way you do that is that you have a motive or purpose for being there which is bigger than yourself. In other words, a real meaning and purpose to putting yourself in that situation. That gives you the courage to face and to overcome that fear. Now, what I mean here is being deployed, you are fighting for your country, you are fighting for your people, you're fighting for your neighbors, you are protecting your family. That kind of high motive, an important purpose, can then give you the courage to actually face it. And then you'll find that after you faced it, that you feel so much more confident, and you have more self-belief in yourself. So it's actually a form of growth as well. So that is the most powerful one, is facing it. But it's not easy, and as I say, you need to look for something which will give meaning to your action. Let me give you an example. Someone, you see someone drowning in a river, and you wouldn't normally go into that river because it's cold or it's flowing dangerously. But you see someone drowning there, most people, I'd like to believe, would actually go in and try and help that person, in spite of the fear, in spite of the danger, because to them it's important to be able to save a life. So that's the kind of thinking that you need in order to face fear. Get the motive. I want to invite you to have a look at my website, have a look at my books on Amazon and Drafted Digital, and you might find something there. They're all basically self-help books will help you deal with things like emotions, runaway emotions, and the kind of chronic stress that you could have in your life. Thank you.